Hello everyone, I'm Maz Vitosa. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry the rooms got mixed up. I was told twice that we had downstairs, but oh well, we got through it.
If that's our biggest problem today, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, compared to the horses.
Yeah, you got a long way to go.
Like I said, I'm about to be the second year marketing team leader at Buckeye Current Racing. I did it last year. I loved it, and before that, I was just on the marketing team, and my best friend was the team leader, but then he got a job, so I took it. The team is made up of mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and one business student, which is me. Polina Brodsky, who you guys will see later, she's out in the paddock working right now. She's a mechanical engineer and started working with the team in high school, so we do have high school kids. We're drafting them as early as we can. We are in our third year of existence, about to go into 4. This picture is from our first test day at the Center for, this is the Center for Automotive Research, at the Transportation Research Center, which is owned by Honda. I'm on the end there. That was a freezing cold day, and but it was the first time we got to see the bike run. That is RW2, our second one. The rider on the end is Casey Putsch from Putsch Racing. He owns a race shop in Dublin. He's a former Ohio State University alumni member and was on the Formula SAE team when he went here and was a driver. I met him when I was on that team and have become friends with him over the years through car shows and events like this. And he has an FIM motorcycle racing license and was nice enough to ride our bike for us. Alright, this is our first bike, RW1. It was named after Ryan Williams, who is a team member who died in an unfortunate motorcycle accident, which kind of freaked a lot of people out because we're a motorcycle team and people do wreck, but we love motorcycles. I ride myself. My mom hates it, but once you start, you're not going to stop, basically. Our first bike was plagued with teething problems. We made our own battery pack for that bike. In the build process, when we soldered the packs together, putting the heat back in the packs really broke down the cell, and so when we drained them really hard and fast, they basically broke down throughout the year, and we eventually were able to set, I don't know how well you can say that, the fastest collegiate electric motorcycle land speed record, despite the bike not even being made for top speed, at 144 miles an hour. We did that last September. It was 480 volts. It weighed about 580 pounds, which is about 100 pounds to 130 pounds heavier than a comparable gas motorcycle. So we're still being held back a lot by battery technology. It was on an MV Agusta F4 frame, which is a really small Italian motorcycle manufacturer. They're kind of one of the, I would say they're more the Lamborghini of motorcycles than Ferrari. Ducati's usually considered Ferrari, but they make really, really crazy looking bikes. The problem, yes?
Is the extra weight because of the battery?
Yeah, the extra weight's because of the batteries. The problem with this frame was that the motor was a stress member inside of it. Or no, wait a minute. The motor was a non-stress member inside of it. So in the frame, there's a bunch of cross members going across, and that really killed our volume for adding batteries on the inside. So we had batteries up front, behind the windscreen, under the seat in the back, which is why it's so big, and in the center, along with the motor. This, if any of you were at the spring tour, it was out back with the Teslas. I was standing by it. I should have brought, and this rider, if you notice the hair in the back, it is a girl. It's actually, I'll go back to the previous slide. It is the girl with the sunglasses in the center. She's a physics grad student and has a motorcycle racing license. She's a general team consultant, and she's allowed to somehow ride in competition for us. The school lets her do that. RW2, our newest bike, also named after Ryan Williams, was entered in the Isle of Man TT0. It's based on a Honda CBR 1000RR frame, which was given to us by the OSU Honda partnership. It was much more conducive to electric adaptation because the motor was a stressed member, so the whole frame is basically just a circle around the top that the gas tank is bolted on, and the motor hanging below supported itself, basically. So we had a huge hole to put motor and batteries, and there's a good picture on the next slide. We had no batteries in the back and none up front. They were all in the center. It weighed about 520 pounds, still a lot, but pretty good over our last bike. We had custom-made batteries for this bike, donated by AEE Energy, and they fit a lot better, they worked a lot better, and they were, as you can see, considerably lighter. It was limited by the motor controller to 430 amps. The pack was built for about 480, but we built a motor controller, or bought a motor controller for simplicity rather than performance, I guess. It wasn't my decision, I'm a business student, but it had an inherent limit, safety limit, inside the motor controller, and when you went past that limit, the bike would turn off, basically, as a safety. And so it was originally 480 amps, like I said, and when you floored it, I guess is the equivalent, the bike would just turn off. And obviously you can't have a bike turning off in the middle of a 37-mile race. So to counteract that, we just lowered the amount of power, which does slow the bike down a little bit, but we'd rather finish the race than stop in the middle. Every system on the bike was student designed and built. We even designed the battery pack ourselves. It was custom made for us. We made my roommate designed the battery management system. All the hardware was designed and made by us and then donated by Texas Instruments. Everything was built. Even the plastic on the outside, we made ourselves outside in the garage out of fiberglass. We did not paint it ourselves, which is why it looks so good, but everything else was made. And AEE was our battery sponsor, if anyone wondered. They're a Korean company who is just starting to do business in the U.S., and our team was basically their first foray into the U.S. market. They were very happy with the results.
What was the price tag on entering this race?
Entering the race itself, I don't know. The battery pack was $20,000. Luckily donated to us because we didn't have that money. This is RW2. This is the bike we made. AEE's biggest sponsor on the bottom. There's some more sponsors in the top right. RRW is Ryan Williams' family. SGS is tooling for the fiberglass, PPG, painted everything for us. Actually, I don't know how well you know motorcycles. The fairings we made are actually pretty similar to the gas fairings. The top one is obviously pretty different, but the front fairing is very characteristic of a typical Honda fairing. Their bikes generally have smaller front fairings. I don't know if they did that on purpose or it just worked out that way, but to me, from the front, it looks weird that the whole bike is so big with all the batteries, and then it's got this real tiny front fairing on it. But that's just my opinion. And I actually have a video from our test day. I won't show the whole thing.
There you go.
Can everyone hear that? Barely? Okay.
Where are you?
That is at Transportation
Hey
Research
everybody, I'm
Center
Casey Push
in
here from
Marysville.
Push Racing today. We're out at Honda's Transportation Research Center in Marysville, Ohio, and it's actually an exciting day because we're out with the Ohio State University's Buckeye Current Motorcycle Racing Team. And what's very exciting is they're pushing the forefront of technology as it's a fully electric motorcycle. Today is actually the first official test. They're preparing to go to the Isle of Man very soon, and I'm very happy and honored to be helping them actually be the test rider for that bike. So it's going to be a lot of wind today. I hope you enjoyed the video, but we're going to get into it. There it is, the 2013 Ohio State Buckeye Current RW2 prototype. It was fun today, guys. Yep. On the line.
I don't know if you noticed there, it has no clutch on it. There's no gears. It's all straight drive. That was me saying this on the phone.
Alright guys, so we had a first test this morning already. Good bike, a lot of nice stuff to work with, but we're just waiting on doing some data logging here real quick, so I wanted to take a moment and show you it. Basically what we got here with this motorcycle are a whole lot of lithium polymer batteries. So essentially this motorcycle has the same electric storage capacity as a Chevy Volt car. And actually if you come and look a little more carefully, their motor, electric motor, and jokingly we were saying, is much bigger than a hamster wheel, actually puts out the same kind of power as a modern 600cc race bike. So it's a very exciting thing, obviously zero emissions, cleaner, moving the technology forefront forward, and I'm really happy to be part of this. So I think they're about done. I'm going to hop on this thing, we're going to do some more testing, and come back at it in a minute.
Are the magnets right in that motor?
I'm sorry, what?
Alright guys, I thought we'd take a minute after that last test. Things are going real
I
well.
have no idea.
I'll take the Alameda soon, but certainly go past there.
Alright. So that gives you an idea of what it looks like and how it runs. It sounds a little bit like a jet engine because it's high pitched and then it winds up, but there's no gears, so it never changes, it never drops.
Is this all, you know, prototype experimental, or does anybody retail sell these things?
There are a couple retailers now. They're mostly in California. There's 2 or 3. One is BRD Motorcycles. They make kind of dirt bikes. The biggest one is probably Bramo, and they have a production electric motorcycle you can buy. Theirs actually has a smaller motor and 6 gears. So they went with the transmission to give you the feel, because that's a big part of it for a lot of people. I haven't ridden it yet because our bike is still coming back from competition. But for me, a large part of riding a motorcycle is the feeling of actually shifting gears. So they decided to keep that, and they're doing pretty well as far as I can tell.
Did I understand you said because of the batteries, this thing costs $20,000?
Well, the bike was $70,000, the whole thing.
Jesus.
The batteries
It's a
themselves
tough
were
retail
$20,000.
market.
Yeah, there are markets for, there are places in the world where they're making electric bicycles and don't have the top speeds.
Right, I
obviously,
mean, I appreciate this is a racing
yeah,
machine.
so, yeah, and that's actually, that's probably the market, that's, you know, the two-wheeled electric vehicle market's first going to take off.
Yeah.
Because it's more of a, you know, they'll make them where they're assist kits you can put on your bike, and, you know, your commute, if you're only, you know, 20, 30 miles, you might not even have to pedal. So, you know, but then, you know, like you said, there's also lots of groundswell of kind of the sport enthusiasts too, where
Sure.
you can get performance out of these things.
Does it take as long to charge as a Volt if it's the same?
Ours took about 4 hours to charge. I don't know how long it takes to charge a Volt, but
Okay.
that's what we were. The Isle of Man 2T is the race we went to. It's the biggest motorcycle race in the world, which is funny because no one in America has ever heard of it. But in Europe, racing's a lot bigger than it is here. The all-electric class called TT0 started in 2009. The Isle of Man itself is a small island in between England and Ireland. It's really small. That's the island right there, and that red outline is the track. We race in public roads. They are blocked off for the race, but on in between races, it's open to the public with no speed limits for those 2 weeks during race day. So if hundreds of thousands of bikes from all throughout Europe go to this race, and if there's no race, actual race happening, you can ride the track as fast as you can, which is really cool because you would never be allowed to do that in America. The track itself is 37.8 miles around the island. That center part where the red circles around is the island, or not the island, the mountain on the island. And so they're going up to 180 miles an hour for 37.8 miles. This year, the electric race was dominated by Moto Sizz and Mugen. Mugen is basically Honda, but they tried to kind of hide that. Anyone who knows anything about cars knows it's Honda. They both had $4.5 million budgets, and they did win, obviously, but we had a $70,000 budget. So it just shows you the difference in competitiveness, I guess. They had 109 mile an hour lap, I believe. It's a time trial. It's all done by average speed. Their average speeds were both 109. Mugen was winning the entire race, and Moto Sizz passed him in the final straight. Mugen had a little bit of difficulty, and their rider was very upset about that.
Do they race wheel to wheel or individually against the clock?
It is individually against the clock, and they're started, I think, a minute apart.
Yeah, okay.
But they do catch up to each other. So we actually started, because we didn't compete last year, we started 10th, or we qualified 10th. But there's another university team called Kingston from London who's competed before. They started, I think, 6th. And they finished 30 seconds to a minute in front of us. But because they started 2 minutes or however fast first, we actually beat them in the race. And they
So you
were.
came in third
We came in 3rd overall. Yeah, it's on
behind
the,
these two that have $4.5 million budgets.
yeah, behind the two $4.5 million bikes.
That's quite a story.
So this is the results. You can't see those words very well, sorry about that. But in the 2013 race, in our first year of competition, we got 3rd place overall in the TT0 class. First collegiate team, there was about 4. There was Kingston, Brunel, Vercar Moto, which is an Italian team, and there's one more. I can't remember what they're called. But they were all European. We were the only American team. And we also won the Modal Team Engineering Award for the race. Like I said, our battery sponsor was AEE Energy. Moto Sizz and Mugen Honda came in 1st and 2nd, but they had $4.5 million budgets. And this is Winner's Circle, actually. I'll go back to that real quick. This is Winner's Circle. Our bike is on the far right. We had a professional rider named Rob Barber, who's in the black leathers. He won the TT0 race in his first year and offered to ride for us this year, and we happily accepted. The bike in the center is the Mugen bike. Or no, that's Moto Sizz in the center. And that guy is Michael Rudder, who has been riding for Moto Sizz all 3 years, I believe they've been competing, and they've actually won the other 2 years as well. Number 3 on the far left is Mugen Honda with John McGuinness riding. He's kind of a legend at the Isle of Man, and needless to say, he was pretty upset when he got passed in the final straight. And the race they're 5 hours in front of us, so I was listening to the race on the radio at 5 in the morning, and I heard it all happen, and I was like freaking out in my living room. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Our website is just current.osu.edu, so feel free to check us out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.